Berkshire's annual report indicated that Berkshire had 391,539 employees at the end of 2019. Which areas of our operations have already been hardest hit or will be by the coronavirus pandemic, and what are the implications for the continued employment of those people?
Those people are employed in dozens and dozens of different industries, and there are a few industries that there's a fair likelihood that our employment could be reduced, but they're not large. I'm just thinking as I'm talking. I mean, it's not like we're in the some of the businesses that are, we're not in the hotel business or various aspects of travel and entertainment and all of that could really be changed in a very major way. So I don't see our employment. I'll put it this way: 5 years from now, I think Berkshire will be employing considerably more people, and I don't see where we'll have large dips. But the virus could take off in certain ways that in some of our manufacturing businesses, for example, the demand could be dramatically reduced, and in those cases we would have layoffs at some point. Greg? Yeah, Seas is an interesting example because we've owned that since 1972. That's a long time, and we love it, and we continue to love it. And I have a box here of our peanut brittle, and I've got another box of fudge right here, and I'll probably take them all home and not share with Greg. But we were in the midst of our Easter season, and Easter is a big sales period for Seas, and I don't know whether we were halfway through, but we weren't halfway through in terms of the volume that was going to be delivered because it comes toward the end. And essentially we were shut down, and we remain shut down. The malls that we've got 220 or so retail stores, and we've got a lot of when Furniture Mart sells our candy, but the Furniture Mart's closed down. And so Seas business stopped. And it's a very seasonal business to start with, so we have a lot of seasonal workers, too, that come in, particularly for the Christmas season. But we have a lot of Easter candy. I mean, Easter candy is kind of specialized, too, so we won't sell it. And we produced a good bit of it, and we couldn't ship it, and we couldn't put it in stores, and there's some of that's going on, and of course Greg does all the work on those sort of situations, and our managers are terrific, of course, in dealing with it. But this is a very, very unusual period, and like I say, a few years from now, I think Berkshire will be employing more people than 395,000. Over the years, we started with 2,000 at the textile business, and we've still got the same playbook.
This next question comes from Drew Johnson, who says that he's a longtime shareholder who's attended a couple of meetings. He says in an interview on April 17th, Charlie mentioned that some small businesses owned by Berkshire would not reopen after the pandemic eases. Can you elaborate on which businesses might be impacted?
Well, even we have businesses within businesses. At Marmon, don't we have 97 different businesses, for example?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and there are some that weren't doing that well before. And I'm not talking about Marmon specifically, but they got a couple of them, and there's a couple of, and it may be that in effect what's happened in the last couple of months has accelerated the decline of those businesses, or their customers are developing different habits. I mean, people are developing different habits in retail. There's no question about that. Now, that doesn't mean we haven't got a bunch of good retail businesses, but there are businesses that were having problems before, and that have even greater problems now. We don't own our newspapers anymore, but we're financing Lee Enterprise, which does have them. We've actually increased our investment in the newspaper business by selling the papers to Lee and then refinancing their debt. And the newspaper business was having plenty of problems with both circulation and advertising before the virus came along, but advertising declines every place have accelerated fairly dramatically. And when the automobile industry stops, the auto dealers don't advertise as much. It's made certain businesses that were tough before even tougher now. And there will be, in the management of at least one of the subsidiaries has suggested to us, and so there'll be some changes at a few businesses, but they're very small businesses. Our major businesses and our business of intermediate size, I can't think of anything that's of significance that won't reopen. But it won't be any fun with the businesses where the world has really changed. You're seeing a lot of change. If you own a shopping center, you've got a bunch of tenants that don't want to pay you right now. We don't, and the supply and demand for retail space may change fairly significantly. The supply and demand for office space may change significantly. A lot of people have learned that they can work at home, or that there's other methods of conducting their business than they might have thought from what they were doing a couple of years ago. And when change happens in the world, you adjust to it.